So, welcome back. This is the now mellow sounds of Free Jazz 101.5, where we know how to lose and we find ways not to win. So, oh, Jesus Christ. Well, here we go. I guess, the worst thing was the strong first half and only down by three going into the second half, and you would think the Eagles would light up the board. Unfortunately, the Eagles had other plans, and that plan was apparently to tank. Even though it looked kind of promising, but two turnovers definitely cost them the game for obvious reasons. The one where Jalen Hurts was down with his knee, apparently, I guess Dallas thought that no, that was a fumble. So, oh well, it's one of those things. It's a shame. It makes absolutely no sense, and I don't know. I don't even know what to say at this point. In my book, Dallas still sucks no matter what, but they suck enough to play to win next week the division. So, oh well, I guess you got to eat crow every once in a while. This is one of those times you got to eat crow. Joey B says Broad Street is burning. Bad loss for the Eagles. Wow. Tim Jones just got an increase in to orders. Line of people in Eagles jerseys 50 deep. Rick says, where's the vomit can? Definitely, we will help you on that one there, Rick. And penalties and bad play calling. Second half it was tale of two tales. That's for sure. It was just incredible. Joey B, Fuji, Sherm, Angel, what the F? What's that? Oh, and by the way, Joey, before I start getting into other names here, we've had a name change to protect the innocent. So let us welcome Fuji Corleone here to the program. So you got to have fun because this is just so bad. God, it's so bad. But Fuji Corleone, everybody. He'll be here all night.
I know.
David Sherman says Flyers. So did Taryn Hatcher. She said the same thing. It's time for the Flyers, and we do agree. Michelle, of course, with the unhappy face like the rest of us. It's just tough. Tough one in Dallas for sure. It looks like there was a lot of giving up on the second half. A lot of injuries once again. Jake Quillett. I'll leave it at that. The worst team in history with the worst division in history that we've ever been a part of, including 2020 altogether. And you've just seen an abomination of what is a division. Sulima says, I liked the play calling in the first half. What happened? They abandoned the run game and the penalties. I don't even know what to say, not to mention our secondary. Yeah. It was just bad. No matter which way you look at it, you can't twist it. Like, I can't come on here and be like the other shows, like, so what did you think? Really? You want me to tell you what I think? It was just an absolute joke. It is what it is. It's an absolute joke, and you'd almost have to talk to yourself in the mirror to really convince yourself, because if I'm an ego in the locker room and I'm done, showering up and whatever, and I'm kind of checking myself out, yeah, did we lose yet, bro? Off-season's coming up. We can play golf here in a little bit. Looking good, though. See you next season. Because that's all they're going to do at this point. There's nothing else to do. Next week, does it really matter when it comes to DCU? We've made fun of them all year long, and even those guys now have an opportunity of doing something. So, oh, good Lord. I don't know what else to say. Bring back the vet, says Joey. Rick says, thank you guys for making this more fun than the game itself. Great job. We're here all night, so don't forget to tip your bartenders and waitresses, Rick, and we'll be here. Corleone. Joey B, could Urban Meyer fix the Eagles? No. Good try. Definitely a good try. Everyone has hopes and dreams, as I love to tell people all the time. But, the hopes and dreams of Philly doing anything, I don't know. It's going to be a long off season. That's all I can say. Hopefully by next summer, this COVID nonsense crap is all gone, so we can actually get back to fundamentals, so that they can have a regular off season, the 3-day voluntary, then the summer program. I don't know. I think they're going to start having to find guys on the witness protection program to come here and play in Philly, because we're not going to have any money to pay anybody else. Ryan says now Hurts knows what Wentz went through all season long. And you know what, Brian? I wouldn't even be surprised if they decide to bring Wentz back for one more game. That would not be shocking for next week. Doug will be saying we got to get better after next week's game. That's guaranteed tomorrow morning on WIP. Guaranteed. Dallas 34, Philadelphia 3 after Cox injury. Yep, that was a big stat. Just certainly. Joey says, I just sent you all umbrellas for your drinks. Yeah. And by the way, Joey, we won't be doing it in stilettos either, but nice try. Could Gus Malzahn fix the offense? I don't know. Sherman, what do you think?
I don't know a whole lot about Gus Malzahn.
it all starts with the offensive line, and the Eagles are going to need to go into this season. And with the draft coming up, no matter where they're picking, and the brass is going to have to get together, and they're going to need to figure it out. They're going to need to get an offensive lineman to protect whoever's starting for the Eagles, whether it's Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz or somebody else. Because if you don't have an offensive line, you're not going to win too many games in the NFL.
I think you're going to get multiple offensive linemen for this joke of an offense. And the play calling, I mean, it's like Doug was just pulling out plays out of nowhere just for, I don't think he knew what the hell he was doing today. Just like I think he was pulling plays off the top of his head.
Yeah, in the second half, they got away from the run. I'm not exactly sure why. There was a couple minutes to go in the third quarter, and the announcers were talking like, they were like major desperation mode. Yeah, Andy Dalton threw for close to 400 yards today. But with that being said, the Eagles were down 30-17. You're only down 2 scores. You're going up against the 32nd ranked run defense in the league. Continue to pound the rock, and they just didn't do that. And unfortunately, the better team was the Dallas Cowboys today. So next week, Dallas will be playing for something, and the Eagles won't. And for anybody who's on here who's a Cowboys troll, all right, I will man up and I will say it. So hold your ears or close your eyes. How about them Cowboys? Ugh, makes me sick to my stomach. Absolutely sick to my stomach that this team beat the Eagles today.
No,
it's unfortunate.
Like I said, it was fool's gold.
Yeah, and speaking of fool's gold, let's talk about Deshaun Jackson for a little while. Now, we haven't really talked a whole lot about him on this show because he's been hurt all year. He had 1 target today, and kudos to him for making the catch for 81 yards. And, putting the Eagles up 14-3 early, which was fantastic. But, what a punk of a player. Like, this is, the antics that he has on the field, not to mention the antics that he had off the field before the season even started, just completely unnecessary. I will be more than happy to see Deshaun Jackson pack his bags. I'll Uber or lift him to the Philadelphia International Airport. Goodbye. Your services are done.
Well, that's the thing. How do you know what happened to him?
I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what happened to him, but they showed him he was smiling on the sideline in the second half. 1 target for 81 yards. The
way it worked out was like this. Obviously, they take him in for the play that they knew that was designed for him. And then Doug looks back, and he's, what are we going to do? No, that one doesn't work. What else is going on? Can he run 1,000 yards? That one's not going to work. All right, that's it. We just put him in for one game. That's it. There was nothing else that you could do for Deshaun Jackson. Everyone knew that he was going to come in for that one play, the goodbye play. He can run the zigzag route. That was kind of pretty much the Meadowlands Part 2. That was that run, unfortunately, with D-Jax. It was nice. It was deep ball threat, and that's it. That's the game, folks. There was nothing else you could possibly do with D-Jax. I mean, you bring him in for another play. Basically, he's used goods at this point. So, God bless him for the career he had here in Philly, but that's it for him. And I don't think because of plague injuries, when it comes to Deshaun Jackson, unfortunately, it might be where no one will pick him up next year. But then again, I know we'll be desperate for another wide receiver, and they may call, Deshaun Jackson back. So not taking anything away from D-Jax, as far as, how he's played for years and everything else, but it's it. That you might just go ahead and draw that drawing up there and post it up there at Lincoln Financial Field so everybody can say, wow, another great one gone. Because come next year, I don't know, maybe we can bring in the mascots. We can bring in Swoop, Philly Fanatic, the chicken from Cincinnati. I mean, we can bring everybody in because that's the only thing we're going to be able to afford. That's it. So, I don't know. That's my little 2 cents in it. But so Salima says, yeah, we had a bad call, but the call did not lose the game for us. A good draft pick sounds good right about now. If the Eagles know, and it comes down to Howie, once again, if he can do it right. Could Lincoln Riley fix it? Hurts knows the offense. Possibly. Maybe. Possibly. By the way, I'm taking drink orders. Who wants a shot? I think the round table here, along with everyone else watching at this point,
we'll take a few rounds.
Rick says he's moving to Kansas City. Rick, I don't blame you. It's absolutely ridiculous. Mark says lay down and let Washington win. That's Another thing that could possibly happen. David says, Rick, tell Will Parker I said hello. Someone else says, Mike, don't burst a blood vessel. We're done when Cox went down. And that is the honest God's truth.
I'm fine.
Ryan says the only way to fix it is to start fresh from scratch with a new way of thinking and build it back from the ground up. That's what's going to have to end up happening. Seriously, we are really supposed to help Dallas next week? No. At this point, listen, you might. I would end up doing that. This would be me as far as like if. Perfect example, we just saw Mike Tyson come back, right? So if I'm the Eagles next week, it would be like me going in the bout with Mike Tyson. I will talk all the trash I want to. Yeah, Mike, I got you, Mike. Don't worry about it. Come in the ring. Come in the ring. As soon as Mike starts walking up the walkway, whoop. And it's the same thing I'll be doing with Dallas next week because it makes absolutely no sense. Why are you going to help out freaking Dallas when DCU is going to help themselves anyways at this point? At least they won't worry about strippers or anything else going on next week. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating because at least we could have turned this abysmal division around somehow. Yet we would have known, just like Mike said when we were off air here a little while ago, that there's no way the Eagles would have moved or at least advanced because of all their injuries that have been plagued by them by now. So no, they were only gone by so far. Shalima says, once again, no, from the earlier comment. Yes, but they played better. Yeah, you didn't have to say that as far as how about them Cowboys. Yeah, that came in when you were saying it. Hey, Ducky's back with his icon. Jalen Hurts is no build for this type of game. He never played from behind. Maybe they should have put Carson Wentz in the fourth quarter to give us a chance to win the game. Ducky. I don't know what you were watching earlier this season, but if you looked at Carson Wentz, he was no better than Jalen Hurts. Okay, you can quote me on that. No, you're going to bring him in for what? What are you going to bring him in for? Carson was going to do no better than what Jalen did this game. So, I mean, listen, you could bring in Stevie Wonder for all you care because what's Stevie going to do? Where's he at? I got him. You're talking about the blind leading the blind at this point. So there's nothing that you can do. It is what it is when it comes to the Eagles. It's going to be a crap show come the offseason. There's not much you're going to be able to do. And so I don't know. That's just me talking and who knows. But I just don't see it. This team, unless things, if Howie has anything left in the tank, I want to see what he can do with a dollar store budget and get players to come here next season. Because right now, Philly is not the destination that it was in 2016, 2017, 2018. I hate breaking the news to everybody. Ryan says, I'm surprised that Deshaun didn't stub a toe on the way to the end zone. Well, you know what? It may have happened. David says, Salima, I picked Dallas to win today. I wanted to be wrong. And so did a bunch of us for the most part. Salima says, yes, why did D Jackson stop playing? What the age? They abandoned the run, so throw to D Jackson. Because there's nothing left in D Jackson's tank. That's a problem. He hasn't practiced, didn't do anything else. He was activated yesterday. You saw the end of D Jackson. Then they might do the same thing next week when they're getting obliterated 42-3. So, anyways, that's about it on that behalf. Rick says 2020 is officially over. No virtual parade for us. Might be a good thing. Maybe. It could be. Austin, all the way from Illinois. How about them Cowboys?
There it is. Go to YouTube and watch that video with Jimmy Johnson.
Exactly. But Austin, I will say congratulations on the graduation. It's nice to see you moving on to the world, and I know you're going to do great things. So congratulations, another graduate in 2020. If anything came good out of there, and I said it to the Kiefer family, if you want to see success, bring up in the dictionary, look at the word success, and the entire Kiefer family is right there. So good win there, Austin. I'll say that real briefly. But more importantly, congratulations. I'm glad you graduated, and I'm looking forward to big things from you in the near future here. Barbara, how are those Phillies looking? Yeah.
Jake Arrieta is out of the rotation. That is a plus.
Yeah, that sure it is. David says Don Fuji Corleone needs to send Hurts a horse's head.
Oh, man.
That would work. Barbara's all about the Flyers right now. And Austin says the Eagles drafting another quarterback. I don't know. You're right, Austin, because they didn't. Howie said he wanted to make a quarterback factory out of the Eagles. So who in the world? Who knows? Oh, and then there's the brother. Dallas, let's go. Okay, so now I will explain this as well. These are Debbie's nephews. Now, Jake's girlfriend, believe it or not, and this is almost an entire NFC East division, is a DCU fan. So we have the Eagles, we have Dallas, and we have Washington. No one, as far as, well, I don't know. Then again, there's my sister who likes the Patriots, but she loves to hang in New York. So maybe, I don't know, my sister can end up being for both teams here. But yeah, Jake, you guys don't worry about it because next week you're going to be out anyways. TCU is going to take that one. So good luck for 1 week. David says draft a quarterback who never threw an interception. That's hard to find. Angel with a quality rant. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Salima says, never, ever help Dallas. Never, ever. True. Very true.
Talk to the referees because you know what? We got to talk a little bit about that questionable fumble by Jalen Hurts late in the game. His knee was down. The announcers were saying that he wasn't losing control of the ball. I don't know what the referees were looking at, but, you know, that essentially put the nail in the coffin on the final outcome of the game because the Eagles were driving, and if they find a way to score there, all of a sudden it's 30-24 with 3.5 minutes to go and 2 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning. You know, maybe you have a chance. But the referees basically decided we're going to flex our muscles, and we're basically going to say that Dallas is winning this game. Absolutely ridiculous.
Jerry paid the refs.
Yeah, probably did.
Okay, I like so. With Rick right now, I can picture Rick. Remember earlier this season when the guy had packed up his bag and the wife said, "Where are you going?" "I'm getting my quarterback back." So I can see Rick doing this with the suitcase. I'm starting to go fund me for the Eagles to get better. So listen, Rick, if you want to stand outside Tampa Joe's, we can get an offering box and we can stand out there and just tell people, you know, to bring in the donations and we'll charity it to the Eagles so we can get a better quarterback for next season because God knows what's going to happen next season. Howard needs to be nowhere near the draft. Unfortunately, Rich, that's not going to happen, but we can only hope by him getting terminated. Ryan says, Fuji, Sanders only had 15 carries today or 58 yards and a touchdown because Doug got away from him. Yet again, what a putz.
I agree. They were down 2 scores. They were down 2 scores with like 6 minutes ago in the third quarter, and Doug all of a sudden decided he's going to throw for the rest of the game. They were up against the 32nd ranked run defense in the league. Ugh.
Well, I mean, listen, Zeke wasn't doing anything this season, and today he looks like that dopey contract they give him. But he looked like he had life. I can't stand. Oh my God! You know, the only time I wish I could say, "Put me in, coach," just so I can knock him out, just for that stupid reason. You know, I don't hate the guy or anything else like that. Don't get me wrong. I don't want people to interpret anything. This thing here by him, that whether it's chunky soup in his little half-cutted shirt. That drives me insane. But again, that's Dallas. That's the nonsense they do. David says, I've hated the Cowboys ever since the humiliation in January of '93. We owe them one badly. Yeah, well, you know, we did. You know, if you kind of, well, not really. Let me remind David, though, that the last time those jokers won, don't forget, the VCR and the VCR tape was a hot commodity. So don't worry. They won't be dusting off that shelf anytime soon. Are the Eagles playing today? Well, that must have been a much earlier one. Yeah. Well, you can take that both ways. They did, they didn't. I appreciate it. Love the show, other than the Eagles theme. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate you tuning in from Chicago. And by the way, for the girlfriend producer next door, the Bears slaughtered 41-17, and they're still in it. So good for the Bears there. Dougie Cornish, all I am is, or supposed to be, I guess, maybe saying Jalen is not built to play from behind. Next year, he will be the quarterback, so he'll have more playing time. We'll see, Ducky. I mean, that seems to be the consensus by a lot of people. See, and then there's Jake. I'll get to him here in a second. Salima says, yes, we know that there wasn't a fumble, but hey, sometimes we get the call in our favor, and other times the refs are blind. Salima, but the only bad part is it seems like in Dallas, and you can look back in history, it seems like majority of the calls that we're supposed to get in Dallas always goes to Dallas. And I'm not making that excuse whatsoever because there is 60 minutes of football that you can win the game. Unfortunately, today we had about 3.5 minutes that looked good.
And that's the whole reason why they have replay. So if the refs are blind on the field, they have the opportunity to go under there and review the play and overturn it. It was so obvious to every single viewer on the national game of the week at 4:25 p.m. And the referees decided to what are they going to put on some new programming? They don't want to show the rest of the game. It was a ridiculous call. And I don't care whether you're an Eagles fan or whether you're a Cowboys fan or a DCU fan or a Giants fan. That was a terrible call.
Well, let's face it, but like 2020, this season's been a train wreck, a dumpster fire, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's been a flat-out joke that you just want to flush down the damn toilet. Just bag it. It's done. stick a fork in them. Let's move on to the offseason and let the quarterback controversy in the offseason begin.
Yeah, because we're definitely going to have a controversy, that's for sure, because, there's money that's wrapped up in Carson Wentz, and, Jalen Hurts is the younger quarterback who has the fire right now, and, they're going to have to do something. I'll stay with it. It all starts with the offensive line. Solidify that offensive line with 2 or 3 younger players, and it might take a couple years. I've talked about this before. If you want to shoot a rubber band really far, you have to pull it all the way back. If you just pull it a little way back, it's not going to go too far. And that might be what the Eagles need to do. They might need to break this thing completely apart.
I would blow it up.
Yeah, blow it up, and that might mean a lot more losing next year. And if that means that they need to get rid of Alshon and Deshaun Jackson and Zach Ertz and maybe even Fletcher Cox, that's what they need to do. Absolutely. It's gonna take a while before they get better, and maybe in 3 to 4 years when they start to be a team that's on the rise, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, these guys will be at the tail end of their career, and the Eagles will be ready to strike again. We had our magic in 2017, and it might be a while before we get back.
You could get this team back if you play the cards right in 2 seasons. Look at the Eagles in 2017. They went from worst to first with a last place schedule and won the Super Bowl.
Well, that's what we were just talking about here with Dallas before the game was over. They're already saying, well, when Mike McCarthy was in Green Bay the first time in 2006, they went, 3-13. And then the following season, they come back and got invited to the NFC Championship game. All right, great. That's fine. Next year, when it comes to Mike McCarthy, yeah, same product. It's going to be the same thing around. The only thing that Dallas needs to do, again, is sign Dak. But the way we saw Andy Dalton right now, the redheaded stepchild, I'm pretty sure Dallas is going to be more focused upon paying him less money and letting Dak walk. That's my controversy to start right now because it's going to happen. But then again, Dak got his money and he's going to go somewhere else. That's what I believe. Jake says that being said, I'm rooting for the Eagles next week. Kat says, go DCU, go. Yeah, DCU, I'm pretty sure at this point, yeah, Ron Rivera, I'm quite certain he's going to get the job done. Feed Zeke. See, that's where I'm going to kill Jake now. And the spoon. Thanks, Jake. No, I'm just kidding. Rick says that was not an early statement. Are they playing today? Because they sure didn't show up in the second half. Yeah, then that's what I was trying to say, Rick.
Let's make an argument. This team hasn't played 60 minutes of solid football all year. It's been, like I said, a train wreck. Like I said earlier, Wentz should have been benched weeks ago. Which is Doug's fault. This team needed a spark weeks ago, not week 12 when it was pretty much a done deal. I said they pretty much would lose out outside of beating New Orleans.
I will tell you what went wrong. The problem was that Doug, and I didn't want to say this because I was sworn to secrecy, so I'm going to break this over the air here. So from what I was told was, and I got to make sure no one's around, Doug got the playbook from the Dominion software company, and that's why things went wrong. I'm just saying. But anyways, that's what ended up happening. Jake Keefer says, go back to the call with Des Bryant in the Green Bay game. It was a terrible call, just like that call in the Green Bay game, which is actually true. Believe me, I know it's been on both sides, Jake, and the same way with the Dallas fans. It's happened both ways. It just seems like every time we go down to Dallas, I would say at least 8 out of 11 normally goes Dallas's way. Rick says, Happy New Year to all. Thank you very much, Rick. Happy New Year to you as well. Ryan says, when Fletcher got hurt, the necessary adjustments were not made up. 14-3, the Eagles should have stuck to the game plan offensively and adjusted defensively. And unfortunately, they did not. It's a shame. Jake says, Hurts is your future QB. We'll see, Jake. There's going to be a lot of talk, and it's going to start from tomorrow because I'm pretty sure the NFL Network and ESPN are going to be the first two. And Dan Orlovsky, I'm almost certain, will be what's going to happen with Carson, what's going to happen with Jalen. This is what we thought. And so it's going to be a lot of talk come this week. For sure.
Yeah, because let's keep it real, right? In that second half, there were 2 drives. One, Jalen Hurts threw an interception in the red zone, and one, Jalen Hurts ended up fumbling, even though we don't agree it was a fumble. But with that being said, if that was Carson Wentz who threw the interception and fumbled in that situation, he would be getting absolutely crucified in this city right now. And Jalen Hurts right now is not. It's just kind of like, oh, well, Dallas was the better team and the secondary, and Andy Dalton threw for 400 yards. So I know that Jalen Hurts is a new quarterback, but, does he take the blame here? Because it was a critical moment, 2 critical moments of the game. And one, he threw an interception, and one, he ended up fumbling the ball. And, if we're going to call it like it is, and we need to call it like it is.
Right.
Because if that was Carson Wentz, he would be absolutely crucified at this point.
There he would be. You're right about that. Ducky says next year we will see what Jalen can do when he plays 16 games in that season. Then we can see what he is made of. And again, it's going to start. Trust me, it's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of talk, and especially right here with us as well. Shalima says that you're right. They go into Dallas' favor when we play. They go in Dallas' favor when we play in Dallas. And when we play in Philly, the Cowboys fans say the calls go in our favor. Who knows? Maybe they need to penalize the refs when they get the call wrong. LOL. Yeah. We wish. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Well, that's the whole reason for the red flag. It's the whole reason for the red flag. When the referees get it wrong, each team has the opportunity to throw that red flag in the field to say, you know what, ref, you got it wrong. Overturn the call. And for whatever reason, they didn't today. I'm astounded.
Well, who's to say the Eagles just sealed Doug Peterson's fate as a head coach? Maybe losing today, he's out of here.
Yeah, I as much as I would like to believe
it's
that
a possibility,
it is. But the only thing is, and again, I think if it would come down to me, it just in my own opinion here, and whatever I say through this microphone obviously will not be true, because obviously I was wrong about the game today as well. But in my own opinion, I think if Doug wants to leave, then he'll tell Jeffrey. I don't think this game decided Doug's fate. Next week's game's not going to decide Doug's fate. I think it's going to be, again, that hard talk that Lurie talked about 6 weeks ago that he was going to have with Doug. And at that point, I'm pretty sure Doug would have already spoken to his family and saying, do we want to stay in Philly? Or are we looking at Houston? Are we looking at other places? I mean, there's going to be a bunch of possibilities for Doug to go anywhere he wants to if he wants to reignite his career. But I don't think Doug goes anywhere. And unfortunately, neither is Howie. So we're going to deal with the product that we have. It could be wrong, and I could be definitely dead wrong, but I don't think Doug goes anywhere, unfortunately, because it's just going to be a lot of the blame will be because of the virus. That's going to be the big thing. And everybody gets a pass, you get a pass, you get a pass, almost like Oprah Winfrey, and you get a car, and you get a car. Well, everyone gets a pass, unfortunately, except for the fans who pay the money.
Well, who's to say they don't bring in an offensive coordinator? Because they do need one. Because obviously Doug's play calling sucks. Along whether it's Press Taylor, Scangarello, or Marty Morningwig. I mean, like I said, too many cooks in the kitchen with this offense.
Personally, I think we should bring in Fuji Corleone, and I think he can play on make all the great plays that he possibly can. Ryan Neff says, you heard it here first. Dak isn't going back to the slot in Dallas. We would hope. And Oblivious Uncle says, what's your outlook on the Cardinals for the next few years? The Cardinals right now probably have one of the better upsides in the NFL. I think from what I've seen, as far as on the cap, as far as money, I mean, even, if next year they get a high caliber player, I believe the Cardinals are probably the only team that are way under a salary cap. And I'm talking about some millions of dollars under that cap. So the Cardinals are going in the right direction. Kyler Murray is starting to come into his own, which is a good thing for Arizona. The only person I may not see coming back next year, and only because unless he's looking to pursue yet another championship, would be Larry Fitz. He's coming up to obviously that age where it's going to be enough. He looks great. Don't get me wrong. I think, he's one of those players. Even if he was available in the market, I'd take him next season because he had a lot left in the tank here for Arizona this year. But as far as it comes to the Cardinals are probably one of those young teams that are going to continue to get better. One thing that I will admire about as far as Belichick in New England, the guy knows how to rotate his players out of New England without paying high-end contracts. So if we can find a way to do that here in Philly like they do in Arizona as well, that would be a fantabulous thing, but we'll see.
It's a shame that Arizona's in the NFC West because that division is just so dominant right now with the Rams and the Seahawks. And I know that the 49ers had a down year, but they were in the Super Bowl last year. So, yeah, they have some weapons in Hopkins and Kyler Murray right now. So you got to think that they're only going to get better. But I have to think if the Cardinals were in any other division aside from the NFC West, that they would be a lot better than their record ends up showing, even though they ended up losing to the 49ers yesterday.
Well, DeAndre Hopkins got hurt in that game. I don't know what the diagnosis of his injury was, but that could be a big blow to them going into the playoffs or even making the playoffs at that point.
Could be. You're right. It could be. Mike Klein, of course, a great friend of the show, a big supporter of the show, and of course, the president and CEO of Philly of the South. And by the way, if you guys just tuned in, this is Easy 101.5 because that's the way we feel this afternoon because it's ridiculous. Mike Klein says, nice call by the ref at the end of the game. You only get that Dallas call. Go Birds. Tampa's Philly of the South. And again, a great group of those guys. Mike, I feel bad because I know you were down there with the Philly faithful, and man, I wish it could have been something better, but unfortunately, not the way it worked out. Ryan says Philly rushed it 36 times for 246 yards against the Saints. That should have been the game plan the rest of the year since then. Yeah. And they blew it today because they just didn't get the job done. Salima says, but what about making them pay a penalty penalty fee, like the players get penalized? Wouldn't that be cool? It would be. It definitely would be. Unfortunately, in Ref School 101, that's not the way it works, at least the way they're shown. Dougie says, let's talk about the difference in the secondary. We need some help big time. Yeah, we're going to be looking for that. Doug, play calling sucks big time. Let's cut our losses now. That is so true, Mike. Salima says, do any of you have any predictions on which teams are going to their Super Bowl? Good question, Salima. Fuji Corleone, I would start with you, huh?
I would say coming out of the AFC, right now I'd have to say Kansas City or possibly Buffalo. In the NFC, I'd say Green Bay or New Orleans. I would say New Orleans more so, because it seems like Green Bay finds a way to choke. So if I had to pick two teams, I go Kansas City, New Orleans. As of right now, but, the playoffs are a new season.
German?
Yeah, I like to make predictions like this in the beginning of the season, and I don't think I ever did. But now that we're a couple weeks away from the playoffs, I hate going with the chalk, but right now I would have to lean towards Kansas City in Green Bay. I know that the Bills are having a really good season in Cleveland if they end up getting into the postseason, or if Miami finds a way to sneak in. I think it would be very difficult to go into Kansas City in the playoffs and win, especially with that guy. What's his name? Oh, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, right? So you got to like Kansas City in the AFC. I think the NFC is more wide open. The Packers probably have the inside track to go into the Super Bowl. So my gut is saying Kansas City and Green Bay, but I hate going with chalk. So I'm going to say Kansas City in the AFC. And just to stir some stuff up, I'm going to say Tampa Bay. I'm going to say Tampa Bay from the NFC. Tom Brady in another hurrah.
I would probably favor Tampa Bay for sure, the way they've been playing as of late, especially yesterday. Again, they could have left Tom Brady in there. He would just ramp the score like there's no tomorrow. I think for me, when it comes to the AFC, if the Titans, and a big if the Titans can take care of Green Bay tomorrow, I think you're looking at maybe Titans making a good run in the playoffs. Kansas City right now at 14-1, you would think they would be right now the contenders of winning it, and they could be. I'm not taking anything again away from what Red is doing out there in KC, because he could be for the first time in his career, all he needs is one more win, and it would be the best record that Andy Reid has ever had in his NFL career. But records mean nothing when it comes to the playoffs. So as of right now, KC is looking great. If Buffalo could stay on track the way they are right now, because I don't believe for a minute that Pittsburgh will go. I know a lot of people may disagree with that one. I think that Pittsburgh doesn't have enough, and we've seen that with what's going on lately with Pittsburgh. It's a tough call. It's a really tough call. I don't know. KC is looking good, but I still think Buffalo can actually go back there this time, like in the past, but actually win it this time around, unlike in the past where Jim Kelly went there 4 times, lost all 4. So hopefully we won't see that one. On the NFC side, I could see Tampa making that push. I don't think New Orleans has enough to make it. I think New Orleans and Green Bay pretty much are neck and neck as far as their playing field. I think Tampa could have an advantage over that. Much healthier players. Right now, Green Bay and Tampa Bay probably has the healthiest roster out of all of them because New Orleans is a little bit banged up as well. I don't think New Orleans makes it over there. And I think New Orleans, once again, I hate to break the news to New Orleans fans, especially TJ Jones, who came up with us earlier this year, but I think they lose to another stupid penalty and they're eliminated. So if I had to guess right now, I would say, and I know it probably won't happen, but I'll go with Buffalo Tampa to answer your question. Tom says, enjoyed watching you guys all day long. Thank you, Tom, and everybody for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Ryan says, Don Fuji looks like he's lost his puppy. I say KC Saints, and I agree with you. So that's Salim agrees with Mahomes. You can't forget that guy's name. He's pretty amazing. He was saying it a little bit sarcastically here because I'm the one that had the brain part earlier. Dougie says, I'm going with KC and Green Bay and or New Orleans. So and it's tough right now because you're looking at it prior to the playoffs starting. So it's tough. And the seeding. Jason says, Doug Peterson says Deshaun Jackson was getting sore as the game went on. Again, not shocking whatsoever. Thank you, Jason, for that update. So anyone says, once again, shaking my head, he was getting sore. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's not. Listen, folks, it is what it is. It's Deshaun. I mean, he's done. You know, he came back. He got his fulfillment wish to be back with the Eagles. He's going to retire as an Eagle. We all know that, but that's it for Deshaun. I mean, it's done. Come next week, again, because, well, DCU isn't going to be in town, and there's not much really to root for at that point because the only thing we can do is, you know, either hurt DCU or let them win so Dallas could be out. But who knows? Either way, it'll be the first time, I guess, maybe in any kind of podcast history, we're going to have a fan appreciation show next week. And by the way, if you would like to be a part of it, as you guys see on the bottom ticker there, write us an email at broadstreetsouthsportstalk@gmail.com. Of course, the street is hyphenated ST. Let us know. Pop in an email if you want to come on. As you know, we can go a round robin of fans and just coming in, talking about the game, talking about things that happen this season as we get ready to go into the playoffs without the Eagles, but we still will be talking football talk all the way up at least until the end of January, until leading up to the Super Bowl. And then it'll be a switch for the Sixers, Flyers, and the Phillies as we hope that MLB will start on time, pending again to the pandemic. But so next week we'll have fan appreciation show. That should be a lot of fun. Today we had a lot of fun, obviously, with sports and stilettos. Breezy was a lot of fun. We thank her for coming on. We do appreciate her as well. For you guys, whoop, hold on. Mike came in with a comment here. My two dogs, yeah, his two dogs are named Dallas and Sucks. I'm very happy at this moment. And that is the honest God's truth. I've seen them both. That's pretty funny. Dougie says, what happens if Cal goes and DC loses? It would go by who won the record in the division. So I think
the Redskins beat them twice.
Yeah, so DCU would end up advancing.
DCU beat them on Thanksgiving. I think it was 41-16. And when DCU played Dallas in Washington, it was that rainy game. That's when Dalton got his concussion. I think that DCU won that game like 15-3 or something like that. So DCU would own the tiebreaker.
Yeah. So yeah, we're right about on that behalf. So next week, like I said, if you guys and girls would like to come on next week, and again, we can bring you guys on. We can bring here with the Don Corleone, with Mike Sherman and myself. But if next week you'd like to be part of the show, just let us know. Drop a line to us. Let us know. And even just give us some feedback, whether you guys have liked the show from the beginning of the season, because this is our first official season, of course, with the NFL. Next week will be our next season, not next week. Next week, or next season, as I say next week again. Good Lord. Next season, we will be back. And as news breaks throughout the season, of course, we'll be filling in. We'll also be talking about any strong football talk, whether it's the Eagles or any team in the NFL, as we, again, make the switch over to the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and NHL season. And then next year, we should have a lot more things lined up to make the show a little more advanced. We are trying to work on right now as far as getting a phone line in so we can take direct calls, which that would make it even a lot better. So a lot of things in the works for 2021. We're looking forward to it. But for right now, we're going to leave everybody until next week. Again, I don't believe, unless some surprises this week. As of right now, there's no bonus show that we can think of. But if there is, of course, it'll come across Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So stay tuned. Always take a look on the page and see what's going on. For the man there on, I guess, above the Juru, Don Corleone Fuji, with the sports contributor, Mike Sherman.
Happy New Year!
Yeah, that is true. Yes, that's correct. Happy New Year, because when we come back, we will be in 2021. So happy New Year to everybody. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in all day long. We appreciate the views, the likes, the shares. Don't forget also to please subscribe to that YouTube channel. I cannot say it enough, because very soon the Facebook thing will be going away, and it won't be because of our accordance. Unfortunately, there's things going to be happening that is going to be shutting some certain things down. Not by us, but because the way social media ends up working out. So please, and I see one more comment coming in before I end up signing off. Salima says, thanks for the warm welcome. It was great meeting you guys. I thoroughly enjoyed the show, and I'm glad I came across it on Facebook. Thank you, Salima, as well, for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate all the comments we made today, because it was definitely a welcome. So hopefully you'll continue to come back, and we do appreciate you coming on. So for everyone else,
I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you again for getting us to 24 episodes. Sky's the limit. We're working on big things going into 2021. Enjoy your new year. Have a safe, healthy, and prosperous new year. To all our fans, keep watching. And thank you for everything once again.
Yeah. Mike, any final words? The words of wisdom from the Shermanator.
Happy New Year once again. Thank you so much to all the supporters. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week on Sunday. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. There's lots of ways to find out information about us. So be safe.
Yeah, that's for certain. So thank you to everyone again, for Mike Fuji, for Mike Sherman. I'm Angel. Oh, so hold on. 2 more quick comments. I don't want to leave anybody out here. Ducky Corner says, Happy New Year's. Thank you, Ducky. Happy New Year's to you as well. And Salima says, Happy New Year. Be safe, because we need you all back in 2021. We appreciate that. We really do.
Thank you.
So, listen, this show doesn't happen without you guys, and that's why next week should be a lot of fun, being a fan appreciation show. So with that, we will say good night. We will see you all next week, and be safe out there.